So what is the actual claim itself for people that don't know? What do you have to do to lodge a claim?
Yeah, okay. So the R&D register, so the first thing you do, I mean, if we talk about what our process is, how we help our clients, if you engage an R&D advisor, R&D Tax Incentive Advisor, so you'll sit down with them and work out which of our activities are eligible and work with them to write up a project description that explains to us industry and the ATO why they're eligible. And then that forms part of your R&D registration. You also put other information in there about the cost of the activities, but mainly company information.
Okay.
And you register that with Oz Industry. That's the first part. And in the background, we also prepare the R&D tax schedule, and then that forms part of your company tax return that your accountants lodge. That is the claim. If you're tax paying and it's acting as a non-refundable tax offset, it just effectively reduces the tax you pay. And then if it's a cash refund, that will get administered by the ATO.
And as a business, what sort do we need to provide supporting material? I know from our experience, we've had to provide times and costs. The write-ups, the descriptions, what problems were identified.
And that journal that you alluded to a little bit earlier about how you document it. So what do you need to provide?
So the more technical documentation, the better, obviously, because that will help with writing up the R&D project description. So you only need to lodge the description itself with Oz Industry initially, but they actually can request additional technical information if they want to know a little bit more. So that's called a request for information, or effectively an audit of the claim. But to actually make a claim, all you need to do is lodge the description of the R&D activities. So that's on the technical side. On the expenditure side, you'll need a bit of information to work out how much R&D has cost. So there's a few things you can include in the claim. The main thing people include is staff costs, so time. Ideally, that's in timesheets where you've recorded the amount of time you spent on those R&D activities. And you can include base salary, on costs like superannuation and work cover. So that's the time element. If you're contracting R&D activities out and they meet those criteria we discussed before, then you can include those costs incurred. Other costs might be feedstock costs, so not so common in software, but if you're...
Feedstock, did you just say?
Yeah, feedstock.
Okay. I thought you did, but I wasn't quite sure.
So if you're an engineer building a new or mechanical device, I don't know, a med tech or something, medical technology, you can include the cost of prototype materials, so things that you build and scrap or use in trials. I'm trying to think what else we can include. And also overheads. So company overheads is another interesting area. So if you're using your offices like you guys are to do R&D activities, you may be able to include a proportion of your rent and your power bills and other expenses that you use day to day.